I have failed at hitting my running goals for years until one man changed it all. World-renowned neuroscientist Dr Andrew Huberman. He doesn't know this, by the way, because, well, I don't know him. But since listening to him and changing my approach to goal setting, I have managed to run 100 kilometers in just under 14 hours, run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, do the Run the Date challenge, which was a total of 496 miles in 31 days, and recently hit a goal I'd been chasing for a long time, which was a sub 90 minute half marathon. But what are these tips and how can you use them? Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal the 3 science-backed tips that help me hit these goals and show you how you can. So firstly, do you find you are not motivated enough by your goal? Well, this might be down to 2 reasons. 1 is that it's too hard and too far out of reach, and 2 is that it's just too easy, so it's not motivating enough to actually bother doing it. Both are different ends of the spectrum, but result in the same thing: no motivation to hit your goal. And when I started running, I just set goals that were way too ambitious and too far out of reach in an attempt to just fuel my ego to feel better about doing them. And it resulted in me actually being really inconsistent with running. And it was only in 2023 when I decided to run 1,000 kilometers for the year, which when you break it down was about 20 kilometers a week, that seemed about manageable for me, that I ever actually stayed consistent with it. That was more than I was used to a week, but it wasn't too far out of reach that it seemed like it was impossible. Dr Andrew Huberman says that we need to ensure we are picking a goal that is motivating enough to get you into a state of action. So if you're just doing park runs at the moment, maybe setting yourself the goal of a marathon is a bit too scary and a bit too demotivating when you fail those long runs or those speed sessions. So maybe you go up to a 10k first, or maybe you do a half marathon after that. You're taking small steps to build up to that big goal, but they're also bigger than what you're doing at the moment. And it is a little bit of a push, but when you hit it, you'll get positive feedback and you can go on to the next goal and you can carry that forward to reach your marathon. Or maybe if your 5k time is 30 minutes, setting to run it at sub 25, it's a bit too difficult. So when you go for a sub 25 and you end up with 27, you feel like you're useless at running, and what's the point? But maybe if you'd set that goal at 28, which is 2 minutes faster than what you're doing now, but you know, it's still reachable, it's still achievable with a bit of work and a whole block of training together, then when you hit 27:56, you're over the moon. And then you take that into going to sub 25. Picking a lofty goal that isn't too easy to reach, but is just outside your comfort zone, means that your goal is motivating enough to get you up and go after it. Now, it's fine picking your goal, but how are you actually going to achieve it? Well, this brings us on to verb actions. Are you being specific enough with your goal? Huberman says that people throw out goals like I want to be rich, or in running terms, I want to be faster, and they don't put a lot of specificity. God, that's a hard word to say, isn't it? Specificity. They don't put a lot of that on their goal, which makes it harder to hit. Absolutely nailed that sentence. Verb actions are essentially the small steps you take to hit the goal. They're the inputs that get you the outcome. So for me to run faster, it was about deciding how fast. So we had the goal of a sub 90 minute half marathon. Then it's, what do I need to do to hit that? Well, I need to eat right, I need to be going to the gym, I need to have a structured training plan. And if we take the example of my running week and weekly mileage with the different sessions I had, my verb actions became this. I am going to run 5 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, covering a total distance of X for this week. This will include an interval session totaling 7k on a Monday, a long run totaling 20k on a Sunday, etc, etc. And I basically wrote out the distance that I would cover on each day and the type of run that it would be on each day. On some weeks, I'd even go as far as to write what time of day I'd be doing it to help reduce the friction of skipping it. This made it really specific and it resulted in less hesitation when it came to do those sessions. I got home from work and it wasn't, oh, I need to run. What am I doing? What do I need to do? It was, when I get home, I'm going to get changed and then I'm going to go do my 7k interval session that has a 2k warm up and you do 800 meter reprints or whatever it is. I gave up halfway through that and trying to add it up to 7k. I did this for gym, detailing when I'd go to the gym, the type of sessions, and the amount of time I'd be at the gym. And I also did it for eating as well. Being specific with your goals and the actions you need to take to hit those goals will massively help maintain motivation as you work towards them. And point number 3 is one that I didn't actually believe when I first heard it, but it has worked, so here you go. I have always thought with goals that you're supposed to write them down and keep them in plain sight so you can be constantly reminded of them. And at the start of this year, that's what I did with my YouTube goals. I wrote them on a whiteboard, this whiteboard actually, and just left them there. And I didn't hit any of them. And I gave up actually filming YouTube videos back in March, and I've only recently started again in October. But when it came to my sub 90-minute half marathon, I never actually wrote the goal down, but I did achieve that one. So why is that? Well, this is something Huberman talks about, and it's called the post-it fallacy. He says there is a common misbelief that having your goal in plain sight every day, whacking it on a post-it note and sticking it on the front of your fridge so you see it when you're going to get your morning milk, some people probably do that, actually increases the probability that you're going to stick with your goal. But that's not the case. He says that our visual system actually adapts to our environment. So after a while, you start noticing that post-it note altogether. And that's exactly what happened to me with my YouTube goals. I stopped noticing this whiteboard. 1, because I stopped using it because it had the goals on. And 2, it just blended in, it didn't stand out to me anymore. Now, is this to say you shouldn't write your goals down? No. Huberman says that actually writing it down every day and putting it in a different place is a better way to increase the chances you'll stick with that goal. Did I do that? No. But I actually spoke about the 90-minute half marathon every day to everyone, and some people started to get really annoyed that all I talked about was my half marathon. So I suppose I was just constantly talking about it, and that helped to increase motivation. Not sure if there is much science to back up that, but it worked. I did it. So yes, write your goal down, but don't just leave it somewhere random thinking that catching a glimpse of it will increase your motivation. Put it in different places, or write it out in different pens and fonts, and do something different with it. Have reminders pop up on your phone at different times of the day and different days of the week. Keep it fresh and exciting, and having that sort of obstruction there of seeing your goal will help you maintain the motivation to stick it. Now, there is one other tactic that helped me to reach my sub 90-minute half marathon goal and hit a bunch of others as well, and that is making running fun. And if you want to find out how I did that, then click here. Go on. Please, please, please click it.